So I'm going to talk about innovation as Nursultan himself, just to make it stronger, the concept. And it's exactly something like a buzzword. It's everywhere. It's a concept that everybody wants to take part of, and everyone wants to be somehow innovative, and it's within our personal nature as humans. We always want to go further. So what I want to show you, I named this to innovate is to connect because of the examples I'm going to talk about, trying to put down to earth the concepts, and because somehow everything, in order to be successful, needs to start with really a great purpose, which is helping the humanity overall. So that's how this title came across. And I will show you some concepts, kind of academic, but I have also some examples, some short videos, and let's go through them. And if the things, I think I did quite a long presentation, so I will go rather fast through the concept, but then I think everything will come down pretty clear. So let's get started. First with this video. So sorry about that. So innovation is everywhere. So I just did a couple of screenshots from LinkedIn, what I did to show the importance of innovation. I have to go really fast already with this beginning, to see how many chief innovation officers positions are there open. Of course, I'm in Kazakhstan, and the first time I did it, it gave me how many vacancies for that are available in Kazakhstan, and we don't have any yet. But then I went to the US, which is the biggest market, and it actually showed us 220 results. So 220 companies are looking for a chief innovation officer. That, I think it's a quite big number, considering it's something kind of new. Innovation was never like a function that was taught in schools such as finance or accounting or operations. It was developed with the pass of time and the need that the companies were founding. So now there are 220 results, which means it's something important. Then for innovation managers, we have 42,823, which is a really important number. Why not quite there as chief operations officers? You know, chief operations officers, almost the second one in command in a company after the CEO. So in the US, there are 1,652 of those vacancies open. This is to show that innovation is, like Nursultan mentioned, very important, is something very present. So how this happened? These persons who are going to run the company innovation efforts have three main aims in their daily job. The first one is to drive new growth opportunities, of course, which means to identify and find in the market what can be of interest for people in order to develop new products, services, and business models. We will talk about business model short after. The second one is to build and grow innovation capabilities. This is very important because I think it's more important to be able to develop capabilities than the result itself. The difficulty of innovation endeavors is that quite often there is not something really concrete that people are aiming for, because we're about to do something that is not here yet. So we can tell for sure what is going to happen at the end. But what is important is that the company had some capabilities and processes and standards that can be followed in order to achieve these innovative outcomes. And the third one is to champion innovation. It has happened before, and I think that's one of the main things that made this become a proper position in a company. The champion innovation means that he will cheer up people to be part of innovation projects, because these innovation projects are often out of the job description of people. So if you give someone this person is a responsible executive and he wants to fulfill his responsibilities, and of course he wants to get the productivity bonus, he will focus in these activities. However, the innovation stuff is a little bit side, and they will not show as much interest in these innovative endeavors as they should do in their day-to-day operations. So if there is someone who is pushing this and implementing and incorporating these innovation efforts, it's going to make things easier. So let's start now with innovation. First of all, there are different kinds of innovation. And these are showed here as levels because type of innovation is something different. So just to start with, all the companies have a certain degree of innovation if they have been following life. And life tends to evolve and to go further, right? So the first one, it's incremental innovation. That's improve what you are doing already right now. So you are good at something, get better, and go ahead. The second one is radical innovation, which is just do actually something new that is not there and was not there before. And of course, then there is disruptive innovation. I just want to be sure, I mean, there were not so many here, but how many of you have heard this term before? I think everyone. No? You haven't? Okay, that's surprising, and that's good. I will talk about it later. Disruptive innovation is to find a low-cost alternative to satisfy a market that was not able to afford some product that would solve some of their problems in advance. So this is a very important one, and it's really popular. After this is the explanation of this innovation, disruptive innovation. It's very ugly. It's a very ugly chart. I agree, but just focus. There are three diagonal blue lines, one at the top, one in the middle, one in the bottom, and they signify the level of complexity of the products offered. So the lower one is like the lowest quality, supposedly, which is not right to say that. It's just easy to exemplify. And the main one, the middle one is the one that is like the general, and the highest one is like the top, like the best products do that. It's like having a Bentley in the top and the Nexia in the bottom. They do the same thing. One of them is much more technologically advanced than the other. So the bottom line, in the bottom axis of the chart is time, and the y-axis is the product performance. I hope it's clear. So what happened? The life of a company and a product starts somehow in between the low and the general expectations of the performance. And with the pass of time, companies get better, get more understanding of the markets they are trying to solve problems for, and they make their products better and better and better until the time they cross this general average expectation of the performance of a product until they eventually get to the top and start making something that is really sophisticated and really for people who are really like into we're going to talk about this later on. Don't focus on the bottom, but the example more often talked about is the Wii console of Nintendo, because it's very low quality compared to a PlayStation. But the markets are completely different. So what's happened with the disrupting stuff? Somebody who's new to the market find that these companies are so high above everyone that they are letting some holes uncovered on the bottom, and they try to achieve something that can provide services and solutions to this bottom stuff. So they start their products, their offers, in quite the bottom for a lower market that previously was not ready to pay for the higher quality. And then they come and take a lot of market of that with a lower technology. But this, why is it called disruption? Because it changes the supply chain of the market, of the industry. And supply chains is what marks where our industry is going. Then this is the way IBM puts it, and it's very clear. So there is the value proposition of the product aligned to the supply chain, as I mentioned. And the first layer is those who enhance the product and try to improve the value chain. The second one is those who extend their product, like they already are able to develop some technology. They notice that with a little bit of a change, they can go further and do something new. So they are transforming the value chain. And at the top are those who invent stuff, new things, of course, and create a new supply chain for this. One of the examples of this is Zara. So Zara, it's a super champion of this because they transform their supply chain. I don't know if you know about it, but we will talk about it later on. And of course, so companies have this dilemma now. They can be continuous innovators. They can be radical innovators. it's very difficult for them to be disruptive innovations at the same time, but they can be both of them. Ideally, they should be both. How to manage that? With the combination that is shown in this chart. This is called the ambidexterity, organizational ambidexterity. You know the concept of ambidexterity, right? I can write with my right hand and with my left hand. I'm an ambidexter. So this is what companies are trying to achieve regarding innovation. Why? Well, there is a concept also called, if you're interested later on, it's called the 3 boxes approach. Very easy. A company has to keep 3 boxes full of products. One is the past, the other one is the present, and the other one is the future. The past one is what am I good at? The present is go ahead doing what you already do and you're good at. And the third one is work for something that is going to be in the future, not to stay behind everyone else. The example, the most famous example of this is Kodak. They invented the digital imagery, and they never pursued it because it was way far ahead in the future. And then Fujifilm came and they developed it, and Kodak lost to something that they already invented. This is an example I think you have already listened to. That's it. This is like the very academic concepts of innovation as a whole. Now, this I don't know how it was advertised, this lecture today, but I'm supposed to talk about innovation and the key success factors of innovation. Like, what is it that it matters the most to have a company succeeding in innovation? And during my previous experience working with many people, including Airbus, I talked to the chief of innovation and strategy, was a very nice Swedish guy. Are these 7 concepts that are now in this image. The 3 at the top are the roots of innovation, and the 4 in the bottom are the supporters of innovation. So a company can have a photography of this and try to pursue something effective in each one of these matters. I call them the innovative 7. So the first one is deep consumer insight. Well, I will do a little bit behind. Every innovation in the world, if you analyze it and give a deep look at it, you will find that it's because either the company who is providing this found something really relevant in the consumer's behavior and needs, or are very good in organizational processing, or they have a really good standards to achieve things, or because they are really good at technology, or because they possess some technology that is above everyone else. So either of these. Ideally, a combination of them. Very few has 3 of them, but we start with the deep consumer insight. Sorry. And here, it's just to be able to find what your consumers want for the aspect, the market you decide to approach. And the example we're checking here is Hövding, the video which we already saw. So I will just go ahead. Do you notice that there were people cycling, they fell down, and then what happened? These things open in their head. Well, this is a helmet that started with a white Swedish cyclist. These 2, the founders of this company are 2 Swedish girls. They were industrial engineers, and for their thesis, they were trying to make something for the cyclists of Sweden. There are many of them, but no one wear helmets. No one, and they were wondering why these people don't wear helmets. And they tried to make a research with their low resources. They were students, they were on their own. And they found that people were like, I cycle to my job, what do you expect me? I spend 20 minutes in front of the mirror making my hairdo, and then you expect me to put a helmet on? Forget it. Okay, that's one. The other one is very uncomfortable. What am I going to do after I arrive to my place or wherever I'm going? I can hang it to the bicycle, or I cannot keep it with me here. This kind of bothers, problems. There are situations that give users problems. So they identify that was a problem, okay. But then they start, okay, then what do you want? Okay, I want a helmet that is easier to carry. Okay, check. I want a helmet that is lighter than the ones we have. Okay, that might be not as safety as we need, but okay, we'll consider. And this kind of thing, until one person said, you know what, it has to be invisible. Otherwise, I'm not going to wear it. Bye. What does it mean? Well, they developed this collar that actually can be fashionable. And this collar, what they did, this is a concept that is very important in innovation and in the whole professional life of industry. This is the transfer of knowledge from one industry to another. It happens very often. So what is this? This is an airbag, like in the car. Absolutely the same principle. So bring the airbag to the cycling world. Okay, where are you going to put the airbag? In the handrail? No space for it, or it's not going to be. The guys fly around. Keep it on the cyclist. So they did it, and it's a highly complex, technologically developed innovation that if you want to put it either, you can find it's a technologically based innovation, which is not the case. It started by having a very deep understanding of the user's need. But to develop that, they needed the technology. So it has a couple of sensors that read the physics of your movement, and when they find that the movement went out of the pattern, it measures patterns, it opens in 1 millisecond or something like that. And it's been proved, and it's been approved. It was first for the northern of Europe that was approved, and now it's for whole Europe. But there's a problem with it. Can you imagine what's the problem? It's an airbag. You can use it only once. Then it's super highly technologically made, super expensive. So we will talk about that later on. So now the second one, process mastery and organizational agility. This is a problem that most companies fail. They have their standards set, they know what they want to achieve, and they go through it. You know, to innovate, they have to go around, or they have to make a sideline. That sometimes I make the analogy of the Formula One, the pits. Very strange. The lecture is full of girls today. The innovation appeals to girls. Good, because they can be creative and active and precise, so that's something good. But in Formula One, the guys are running for time, right? I mean, they want to get, but they had to leave the car for a second, the race, and go to the pits. Otherwise, their engine will break or their tires will stop working. They have to make a pause and lose a little bit of the race while they do the pause. But then when they come back, they're stronger and faster. So innovation can be seen something similar. You have to have your moments in which you pit, you check what's going on in the market, you organize yourself, and then you go ahead. So the question here, this organizational mastery is what INDITEX has. And there's something new about them, is this company.
What it was like before having this hand, or like having like any hand, it was pretty hard. I get bullied a lot, and like I really wanted to be part of a team. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to act like I actually had like right hand, and it wouldn't really care if I had that.
Enable is an online global community of volunteers who are using 3D printers and 3D design software to make prosthetics for children and adults who are missing fingers, hands, and wrists, and we're giving them away for free.
One of the reasons 3D printing is so well suited to this problem is no two cases are exactly the same. Some kids are missing all of their fingers, some are missing even the palm and the wrist. One of the reasons we can produce these devices in kind of incredibly low cost, well under $100, is these devices are entirely body-driven, purely mechanical, so there are no motors, there are no sensors, there are no heavy batteries. So it's a very lightweight, very simple device.
These hands don't even pretend to look like normal hands. They're very different. These things look like something Iron Man or a superhero would have, and the kids love them for that reason.
Once I had this hand, my friends would ask, "Hey dude, how's it going? Has anything changed with it? Is it working better?" And it's pretty cool how they're actually involved. They're actually talking to me about it. And I love this because I could pick up stuff and I could help.
It's been really great to have Kieran and his family come to Pier 9, to prototype these new ideas, to test drive these new hands, and to be able to see the higher perspective of, what this is all about, to see how that hour of CAD, translated into him being able to hold his coat or zip a zipper better.
What Enable has done is it seems that they've kind of proven that regular people can design amazing things if they're given access to the tools.
I think it's pretty cool that I'm one of the people actually testing this out for a bunch of other people. It's gonna be really awesome to see it when it's so big. Every kid that has a problem like me will have a hand.
Well, these guys made organizational process of innovation a success. As you see, they are an online community with global reach, where people volunteer to do this. And then there's another concept. They bring technology for the finding a solution like that of a low cost. This is also a disruptive innovation. The founder of this company, with his big heart and his big brain, understood, you know what? Because I researched these guys, I was not sure if this is going to be there here in the video. Why are they cheap? Did you get it? Why?
Because they're not putting expensive particles inside, right?
There's no electronics at all. Everything's mechanics with the muscles, connections, and whatever. So that, of course, reduces the cost and makes the opportunity to make them massively built. And then, of course, 3D printing technology is getting, in the product life, is getting there, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper. But whatever, they got the support to provide these 3D printers to those engineers, and they are doing that. And this is because of the well organization and the bringing together all these aspects that need to be done in the innovation as a theoretical point, no? So, not recurring to any electronics, that's it. Now, INDITEX. INDITEX is the house company of Sara, you know that, and they own all of these. So we have all of them. In all the, what I like about them, a part of the supply chain process, is that they go to a shop mall, and they just get the whole row, the second floor, whatever, and all the stores are together, so next one's to the other. So all of them are their stores, but they started with Sara. You know they're from Spain, right? So they're Spanish. They started there, and they did something very, very great. What do you know about Sara? About the clothes that Sara sells? Because, I mean,
They produce everywhere, right? In the world.
They produce everywhere. Yeah, that was like an extension of the concept. But what is the Sara clothing? What it makes Sara clothing Sara? Before that, there were how many seasons for the fashion? Like, end of the season, come and get the outlets cheap. It was spring and summer, spring and what is Leta? Guys, I forgot. Okay. Spring and summer and autumn and December. There were 2 seasons for the whole year. So you were wearing something that could fit in either of these. Well, and then you go to a store, and you go to the shelves and you look for your size, and they don't have it. You ask the lady or the guy, do you have something in the back in the warehouse? Maybe you have there something in storage, and they will bring it to you. Well, Sara has 20. How many? They have 26 seasons because they launch new collections every 2 weeks. How they manage to do this? Well, by setting up a little workshops of people who make the knitting and work with the fabrics and all this stuff. And this allows them, first of all, to keep this is a lot of things together. It is really genius, because the marketing side of this is that if you don't go and buy it now, it's going to be over. You will not get it. When you get there, there's not going to be any more for you. So one of the aspects, I remember, I'm from Mexico, and when Sara came to Mexico, the first thing that you will notice is, first of all, they made their places very beautiful and very nice. And second, there were huge queues outside of the store of people that wanted to pay, not even to go to inside and check, because that was for free. But they were already holding what they want to buy, queuing to pay. Because you don't get it, next week, there's not going to be there. So what's the effect of this? If there is somebody studying in industrial engineering, they don't need to have warehouses. What it's on the shelf, it's what the inventory is. And then if you're doing accounting, you know inventory is a difficult account to manage. So this is really great. And it's because they are very good in their operation system, and they developed a new supply chain. Now, many other brands that were more expensive are doing the same. To get rid of the warehouse stuff, to keep people interested, and to give people more variety. Another thing that they do is this is another topic of innovation. Okay, let's go to the third one, is technological prowess. What is this? There are some companies who they're trying to make some great technology they developed or they found useful. There's nothing clear about it, but they're just working on it. And an example, another thing is, for example, Tesla. Do you know Tesla? How it all started? Why Tesla made it in the electric cars before anyone else? Because of the batteries. Electric cars have been there since the 60s, you know, right? But they were not able to develop because the battery life was very short. And the potence of these batteries were not enough to go further than some 40 kilometers per hour or something like that. Well, Tesla, which was not founded by Elon Musk, he came later, their value proposition was in the batteries. They were longer lasting and they had more power. So that was a technology. Such thing is a technology put to the service of people and communities that now, what is Elon Musk doing apart from Tesla regarding energy? The solar panels, one of the biggest. So because it's the technology itself. It's not the community, it's not the process, it's the technology. Then everything comes afterwards in order to make it work, right? So we are there. Then we have Corona. Technology, I want to make this emphasis. Technology doesn't mean something overly complicated and complex and expensive. This is the high tech. The high tech means high level technology, because we also have the low tech. So it's technology. Corona. Maybe Corona is a good example of this. What have you heard about Corona lately? Anyone? You know this beer, right? This is a beer. This is a Mexican brand. They are one of the biggest in the world, seriously. If you go to a restaurant, order a Corona, it's going to be expensive, I warn you, because of that. So they did the following. Cans. What's the problem with cans? When you go to the supermarket, you get a 6-pack. And the 6-pack has to be held together to make it a pack. So what they were using to hold these cans together, well, they were using plastic rings that they were making musar. No? So it was a problem, and somebody measured how much of this plastic is being wasted a year, and it's incredibly thousands of tons, and the places, and specifically the oceans, are totally polluted, and it's horrible, and it's very bad. So they started developing some stuff. Okay, people from Carlsberg, they did something very nice as well. And they said something like very romantic. Don't run from the problem. Enhance and face the problem. We are doing this stuff that is going to the oceans and is polluting our sea life. Okay, they made some material that it was made from something that can be eaten by fish. So when the thing gets polluted and irresponsibly wasted, it ends up in the oceans. It's not going to damage anyone. Actually, it's going to feed the fish on the ocean. It's very nice, but still, is doubtfully, we're not sure it's going to be blah, blah, blah. Then Carlsberg came up with something that I say it was like kind of cheating. They were gluing the cans one to each other with some glue. They said that the glue is ecologically friendly and blah, 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 but it's glue is something. Then these guys came up with this. This was developed with Corona Innovation Team in partnership with Leo Burnett. We have some Leo Burnett offices here in Almaty. And one of the key success factors of innovation is always, what are you after, right? So there are these, let's go together and talk about what kind of ideas we can have to solve this problem, whatever. So the key of this, said by people that developed this innovation, is that they were asking, what we want? We want to get rid of this, but we need to hold this stuff. Okay, what about the ecologically friendly stuff? Yeah, okay, maybe, but it's not quite there. So the question was, I get it, some brilliant guy said, might have been perceived as stupid at the beginning, it happens in innovation. And he said, we need to find a solution within the can. Nothing else can be part of this, because otherwise we're not getting out of the problem. So that was the key. Now, with that clear question and with that clear goal, people started working in prototypes and ideas that end up in a can that has this bristle or whatever you can attach them together, and I think it's great. Now, this is as well a technological solution, because you need machines and all this stuff to make the can, because you know, one of the aspects of the can is that you can drink from them, so it cannot mess up with you drinking from the can. It has its peculiarities as well. So this thing is going to be one of those innovations that changes supply chains, I believe, because there needs special machinery to do this, and they will get rid of the providers who give them the plastic rings. I'm not sure if they had this kind of machinery themselves. Maybe they would, maybe they're not. But this thing now is getting out of the map and is getting out of the way. It's a supply chain changer innovation, talking about technology. So that's it. These are the 3 roots of innovation. Now, you can have the best of this, but you need these 4 to make it happen. Otherwise, your innovation will be an invention. You know, the difference between invention and innovation is mainly an innovation is some invention that gets marketed to the markets there, got commercialized, and then there is innovation happening. So the first one is innovation portfolio management. I talked already about that, which is keep a healthy balance between continuous innovation, radical innovation, and trying to manage the capabilities of your company that you still go for the things that give you the money. Like students here from the management courses, you have seen the BCG matrix, I guess, Boston Consulting Group, cows, stars, dogs, and I don't know the 4th one. What is the 4th one? But you need to keep milking the cow by looking for the next star. So it's a balance. And all of these have an academic approach that is full of different frameworks that you can use to support yourself when you are trying to make innovation portfolios. That I don't think I will talk about it now because it's long. But there's a book that was written by the previous CEO of Procter & Gamble and one of the dean of the Rotterdam School in Canada, no, the Rodman School in Canada, and it's called How to Win. So they make this matrix, which is exactly that. So you have to wonder how are you going to win, and there are these three concepts on the bottom, and where are you going to play? Well, the first question is where are you going to play, and then you ask how are you going to win. And it gives you this matrix, which is actually the same matrix of the ambidexterity, because you have the core, which is optimizing what you already do good, and then you have the adjacent, which is you can take what you do already and make something new. This is a very easy concept of this. I promised, actually, when I was talking to people from Yessenov Foundation, I said, my presentation is going to be very nice, very dynamic, and it's not going to talk about Apple, Google, and all these big names. It's full of that, but okay, let me do it once. This adjacent, expanding from existing business to the new, is an example is the iPad. The iPad is like a phone, just big and a little bit of different changes. He created a new category. This is an adjacent move from where you're good at, using the same technology, the same capabilities, the same stuff you know, towards something that is new. And then, of course, you have the transformational. And here I want to take this example that is very current. 1 week ago, I want to make the example here. I'm not talking about what Google did to be great. I'm talking about what they do now that they're big as a company. They keep a portfolio of innovation very current and very varied. They have a lot of smart startups with different technology. They are aiming for the moment in which this technology will just take off in the market, and they don't want to miss it. So they better be there. Now that is not clear what's going to happen, but if it happens, they will just go for it. And this is how it looks. The example, they have this thing, which is called, I forgot the name. It's written there. This is a quantum computer, which is the biggest in the world, and it has a cost, and it costs money to develop it, and it costs money to keep it going. But now, the physicians who work on it have found like the biggest use of quantum computing, and it was a note in the newspapers and in all the web world that they did the biggest calculation ever that would have taken 10,000 years. They do it in 200 minutes or something, right? You saw about it. So now this is an achievement. So it's getting somewhere. So that's a nice example about how to manage your portfolio. These are all the brands that Alphabet and Google own on their own. So just to have an idea that you can make it. And the quantum computer thing is not going to show it, sorry. So wait, there's a generally accepted combination of this. You can have 70 on your core, 20 in the adjacent, and 10% in the transformational. So now let's go. The next one is innovative business configuration. And this is where the business model thing comes in. Have you heard this term? Business model. Well, it's also in the innovation world. It was very big from the 2010, something like that. Everybody started talking about it. There were a lot of specialist people talking about business model innovation because the guy who made it, like, it has always been there, but there was one young guy from Switzerland that made a framework that is very friendly. And it was very easy to read, and that's why it became very big, because of its approachability. And basically, business in configuration is how the company creates value and how it captures value for itself. So how do you do something good for your clients and how do you get some profit from that activity? And he made this concept available for everyone. He said you start in the middle, the value proposition, and then you have two ends, the front end and the back end. The front end is all related with the consumer. You have there the customer relationship, the channels, and the customer segments. And in the back front, you have what makes you make this company, this product available, which is key activities, key resources, and key partnerships. And all this has to be laying down on revenue streams, where you get your money from, and cost structure. So you put these 10 blocks, how many are there? 9? I don't know. And you start making ideas. How are you going to achieve this? How do you relate one to each other? And it's something very useful when you're working with your team, and you can make a nice workshop during a Saturday, whatever, and you come up with good ideas. So, for example, we talk about Hövding. It's very nice, but it's super expensive. What we have to talk about here? The revenue streams. Okay, now we have the customer thing solved. We found the solution. It's the most nicest thing, but it's super expensive. What to do? Okay, they come up with something different. They have key partnerships and they have revenue streams. They sell it to insurers. So insurance companies prefer to pay 300 euros than to pay the treatment of the guy who broke his neck because he was not protected. So if you pay insurance, the insurance company might give you the helmet, and then this company.
If you don't wear it, then they're not like covering your.
And exactly, so it's all tied up. If you don't wear the helmet, they don't cover and they were actually given to you. So that's how this business model stuff. Now, how to make it work, right? The next one, I want to Tesla, just to be fast about it. The ultimate business model these people are after, I was going to ask if you have heard about it, but I think you don't, is they want natural, because these cars are also very expensive now. So they want these everyday people, like most of people, to be able to buy a Tesla. How this is going to happen? They're super expensive. Well, when you are not using your car, you're going to let it go on its own because they're going to be driverless and be a taxi out there. So when you don't use your car, it's making money for you, from which you're going to pay the monthly statement of your loan that you get to buy your Tesla. It sounds like crazy, but it's happening. Then innovation has a lot of consequences to humanity. I heard a phrase very, very strong. It says, Tesla is supposed to save millions of lives, but it's going to kill few before that happens. Yeah. Because, of course, the trial and all this stuff, no? So this is the business model. How do you make this happen? Then you need a good way to prototype and test and pilot your things. This was made famous as well. There is a process called lean startup. You have heard about it. And it was by one guy who, any other academic, but he got a lot of attention because he was actually in Silicon Valley when he did that. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. He came up with this and he decided to write about it. He launched his book and it was a success. And the thing is that you have to find, first of all, a minimum valuable proposal, or minimum valuable product, which is, first of all, it has to work. It doesn't have to be great, just it has to work. And then you start looking how the market reacts to this. And then we have this stuff happening. There's another video about it. Shall we watch it? It's 1 minute, 20 seconds, something like that. It's in Japan, there are many restaurants that what gets your order is a robot, right?
操作している人たちがすごくこれを今回カフェで働いてみるとか接客するっていうことを楽しいと思えるんであれば、それは AI にそのせっかく人が楽しいと思えることを AI にやらせるなんて私は違うと思っていて。
So that's it. He saw the opportunity, of course, another guy with a big brain and a big heart, but as well he saw a business opportunity. He doesn't need to use the high technology to keep the robots going with the AI, artificial intelligence. He used the remoteness by these people who are disabled. This is huge. These people are brought back to society. They are brought back to life thinking they can be useful. And actually they can be autonomous. No? They are getting salaries by using this kind of disruptive innovation. So that's something awesome. So that makes it. These are the 7, These are the innovation 7. And they are the roots, the sustainers, some nice examples from the world, and some academics if you are interested. So this all wouldn't work if there were not some visuals on it, right? And to show you the visuals, I talked about SAR already. I can talk on top. Everybody's visual. They said like 70% of people are visual, 20 are the ones who hear, and 10 kinetic. Everybody's visual. That's a myth. And of course, what gets things to your brain are the visuals, like them. He lost the line. He doesn't know what to do. He cannot see where to go. But then the manager comes. So we are trained professionals. We know how to go around. The guy's afraid. So he found the line and he can continue with his job. So with this in mind is that these late frameworks have made it to big audiences because they are visual. And this is how I put the Innovation 7 together. This is the workshop I use. And we stick it on the wall. We make workshops during a weekend or 2 weekdays. And the idea is to put in post-its what you think is where it belongs to, ideas, services, whatever. And you bring together people from different functions of the company, and it's great. It's very fun to do, and at the end you can get some good insights, and then you build the map to go through, the guidance. And that's it. It's in a way that everything should point to the left. If all your post-its end up in the right side, your thing is not that innovative. It's very likely that you're feeling safe, but you're not gonna get anywhere. If all the post-its get to the left one, it's risky, but you may get to a new market and you will make it. So that's what I pursue in Bright Path Innovation is the name. That's it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for staying.